Welcome, everyone, to Liberty Talk Radio. I'm your host, Joe Cristiano, and this is going to be your antidote to popular talk radio. Folks, it's time for us to take back control of our government now before this bureaucratic, oversized, and self-serving federal government starves us of our property, our freedom, our rights, and our liberty. To do this, we must shed conventional thinking regarding our political structure. We need to be revolutionaries in thought, dissidents in action. Only after we recognize what our government is doing to our freedom and our Constitution will we start taking it back. And this program is just about that. Well, folks, this morning we're going to talk a little bit about a few things, but I just underwent some very, very severe shoulder surgery. They actually replaced a joint in my shoulder. Did not think I was going to be here, but I did make it. I'm okay, a little wobbly, but I'm okay. So please do excuse some of my eccentricities this morning. I have with me a good friend, Jim Reese. He will be assisting me in the case I fall off my chair and collapse and faint or something. Jim is a Tulsa entrepreneur and a true patriot, and I appreciate him coming here and being my support. Jim, good morning.
Joe, good morning to you. Great to be here. I'm thinking that when you asked if I'd join you, this was about 3 hours after your surgery. You were still being fed painkillers intravenously, and I don't know if your mind was clear, but it is great to be here. And like you said, I'm here in case you fall off your chair. I'll be happy to pick you back up.
Well, yeah, the painkillers were the high point of my week. I'll tell you that. Well, thanks, Jim, for being here. I appreciate all the support. I got a beautiful a flower, right, not plant from the crew at 1170 KFAQ. These guys here are really nice. They really are terrific people. No, I'll be honest with you. I'm not just saying that. I got home from the hospital on the front porch. There was this gigantic, beautiful green thing. I don't know what it was, but it's a beautiful plant, and I certainly appreciate that. They're very supportive, and we really are a team here. We don't always agree with one another, however, but we are a team. Folks, I think I need to set the stage for this morning's broadcast in that we are led to believe that there are problems out there. There are many problems. There are problems with government. There are problems with industry aligning themselves with government. We have wars going on. You name it, it goes infinitum. Well, folks, the problem, and we like to blame people for that. We say, the problem is the government. The problem is the political system. The problem is the Democrats, the Republicans. The problem is the fact that people don't vote. The problem is that, we can't win this war in Afghanistan. Allow me to announce this morning, none of those are the problems that we face today. None. I want to make sure that's very clear. None of those are our problems. In fact, let me be even more clearly, and maybe it'll get through to you when I say this is even not my problem. None of those problems are my problems. If we have a politician who is accepting an ungodly amount of money in order to be influenced in the way he votes, that is not my problem. This is something that I should not be taking my time up with to investigate so I can write another congressman or write the president to express my opinion. It is not my problem. Now, you're thinking to yourself, how could this be? This is America. We should be involved. And this is the big scoop, folks. You see, we've been duped, every one of us. We've been duped in believing that we have to vote because they'll select the two dumbbells that we have to vote for, the two, what do you want to call them, Jim? Droids, right? They call them droids, I guess. They pick two droids to represent us, and then we have to vote. It's the people of, they've actually made us believe that these are people that we have chose. This is the problem, folks. I have no problems. The only problem I have is I have a problem with one person. I'm going to go on the air and announce it right now. And that problem is with me. And if you thought about your everyday life, where is your problem? Where does it start? It doesn't start in Afghanistan. It doesn't start in Washington. It doesn't start in Oklahoma City. It doesn't start in any particular corporation. It always starts with us. Now, I'm not being negative. What I'm saying is that we have to recognize this is the world around us. And if we do not recognize that, we will always take the wrong action. And if we take the wrong action, we will suffer the consequences. Believe me, the droids in Washington will not suffer at all. They will do very well. They will make out handsomely. You've heard that comment. We have met the enemy, and it is us. Truer words have never been spoken. And as Mark Twain said one time, the truth hurts. It really does. I don't want to be wrong. I have an ego. I want to be right every damn time. Every time, everything I say, I want it to be right. I know that's not going to be the case. And I have to be manly enough to say, gee, that sounded logical. Didn't work. And until we break through and our minds change, like Zorgology. I come from the planet Zorg. Everyone knows that by now. On the planet Zorg, we think critically. We speak logically. If you are ever even the inference of being illogical in your speaking and uncritical in your thinking, you're taken off the planet immediately and you're shipped right here to the planet Earth, because this is the insane asylum for planet Zorg. I want you to understand that concept. I screwed up on Zorg. That's why I'm here. I would be a radio talk show host on the planet Zorg. It'd be a much easier job. I can tell you that. But once we recognize the enemy is us, and once we recognize that the truth hurts, or the truth shall set you free, as they say, right? But it pisses you off first. I think Emma Goldman said that, right, Jim? Emma Goldman said that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. and she was absolutely right. So let's not talk about... the problem that I have with talk shows today is they are talking about events that actually have very little to do with me. Now you say, well, you should keep up with what Senator so-and-so is doing on Bill, House Bill 1428. And how can I possibly do that? Do I go in there and I say, can I see House Bill 1428? And it's 1,800 pages long, small print in legalese that I could never understand? This is what this country has come to. It is time for us to divorce ourselves from all of this. It is time for us to look introspectively and say, who am I as a person? As a free person. Not as a citizen of anyone. A citizen of yourself. And moving forward. That'll be the toughest challenge you'll ever face in your life. I can guarantee you that. And let us hear. I want to hear your opinion. 855-866-1170. That's 855-866-1170. Your email to comments at libertytalkradio.com. Of course, you can find me all the time on our website, libertytalkradio.com. Please visit us. Now, and the thing is, our minds have been molded. Now, let me give you an example. Let's assume for a second that all of your money is in, or all of your assets, in real estate, in precious metals, in tangible, in food stocks, and you have plenty on hand to last you an extended period of time in case there's an outage. Are you independent? Sure you are. But if you're going to rely on the system, boy, you better worry every single day when you get up whether or not that system's still operating. Just the other day, I went to a Quick Trip, and the ATM machine wasn't working. I mean, the system wasn't down. Just this one machine wasn't working. I was in full panic. It's like, what happened? This can't be, And I said, isn't it funny? Now, I could have gone just two miles down the road and got another one. But yet, it was unsettling. The place was open. They were selling everything, buying, whatever, But just that one action, that one simple action of putting the card in and coming out and going, whoop, not working. It's sort of like short-circuited message. Could you imagine if the whole system went down? They would be panicking the street within 20 minutes. Are you ready for that? And I kept on thinking, I said, am I ready for that? Well, sort of. But I still wasn't ready for the shock of it. And it was only one machine. And you know what I mean, because it's happened to you, I'm sure.
And Joe, after reading about electromagnetic pulse, solar flares, and the possibility of wiping out everything electronically, it does scare the bejesus out of you to think that every account, every asset that you have that is through the internet and digitized could disappear, be it temporary or permanently. So,
Right, absolutely. And what happens there is, if that happened, everyone's going to look what? Externally. We are all going to look externally for the answer. And the answer is not external, it's internal. I wish there was a way from this program that we can coalesce as a group, that this could be the embryonic stage of a group of people who decide to divorce themselves from the system. And this will be the focal point. Wouldn't that be neat? And we would develop our own community within our communities in Tulsa, in the surrounding area, to help one another. Do you know if something happened today, and I say something, you fill in the blank, I don't care. Solar flare, outage, transformer goes out, ice storm, anything. No one in my neighborhood is prepared, and no one knows each other. And if you bring it up in my neighborhood, they think you're a nutcake. And I don't bring it up. In my own neighborhood, and I'll tell you what's going to happen, folks. Someday there's going to be something, and I don't know what it'll be, and it may not be until 20 years from now. It'll happen. In my lifetime, something will happen. And my neighbors will come over to me and say, by the way, Joe, do you happen to have... Oh, boy. Well, I have an answer for them. Think about that. Now, the problem we have is that normalcy bias that I talked about last week. We have a normalcy bias. That means everything's fine. Provided nothing's happening, everything is fine. But and then even faced with danger, which there is danger out there, we reject it because everything is fine. And this normalcy bias will get us all. We all have it. I have it. We all have it. Some are severe. Some just go and just everything is fine. Nothing could ever happen to me. Nothing. I can't get in a car accident. I can't lose my job. Nothing. Everything's fine. Fine today, fine yesterday, fine tomorrow.
Joe, I was reading a financial analyst yesterday, and he was concerned about a stock market pullback of great significance. And he says to all the doubters that everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine until it's not. And so that's what preparation is all about, whether it's getting your assets prepared or getting yourself prepared for any unforeseen event. Everything's fine until it's not.
Yeah, and the stock market is probably one of the worst places to be. I have tons of money in the stock market, but I don't have all my money in the stock market. I don't know what's going to happen. Do you realize if something would happen, everything is digitized today? If you lose your digits, you have nothing. You are defined by digits, ladies and gentlemen. You are a digit today. If the system goes down, digits stop. When digits stop, you own nothing. Think about that. If you don't have it in your possession and you have a way to protect yourself so that you can retain that possession, you own nothing. And I'm not being an alarmist. I'm saying that's real. You know, what I find really interesting is that when we raise our kids, we put them into organizations like the Boy Scouts, and they say, be prepared. And we tell them, yes, Johnny, be prepared. But don't ask me to do it. You do it. How disingenuous could we be? If we just followed the Boy Scout motto, we wouldn't be in the mess that we're in today. It's like, you know, that applies to you, but it doesn't apply to me. I'm a grown-up. No, you're on planet Earth for a reason. You're screwed up on planet Zorg. You know it and I know it. And the problem that I have is that our thinking is all wrong. I listen to talk radio because I'm in talk radio. Some I like, some I listen to get opposing points of view. I mean, I listen to all, the progressives, the Democrat, I listen to them all. Not much, a little bit of each. And quite frankly, although this is a conservative radio station, sometimes I'm very pleased with what I hear from some of the progressive stations, which tells you that there is no such thing as progressive or conservative. They all have good points and bad points. And you shouldn't abide by any of them. You should abide by anything that benefits you as a person. You as a person. And I want to hear from you, 855-866-1170. By the way, we have no board up here for telephone numbers. Is it time for a break? All right, let's take a time for a break. I want to rant about something else. Thank you. Stay with us. What we do is we listen to talk radio, and most of it's very good. But we go off the track. This is the problem. One comment I receive from people that meet me on the street, and this happens often. I can't believe how often I'll go to a store and they hear, "Oh, I know you," because they recognize my voice. And the one comment they say is they say, "Your message is refreshing. I'm getting tired of typical talk radio." And I'm not just saying this to blow smoke and stuff like that because they say, "You suck, I would get out of it." But I mean, I'm really pleased that they say that because they're saying, well, you're hitting at the core. You're hitting at the core. And I want to give you an example of what I mean when we listen to it. It sounds good and it molds our minds. And when it molds our minds, it freezes us up. It takes out the initiative to take action into so much of what we do. For example, our school system. See, our school system, let me put it this way. There's a word I use for our school. It sucks. I don't care what school it is. It sucks. Anything would be better. I don't care if you go to a school where you're paying an extra $3,000 a month for little Johnny and little Mary. It sucks. I can tell you that. It's not good. It's not good for your kids. I'm not going to go into that now. I had a program on that once before. But our school system's bad. Now, I'm driving along. I'm going north on Lewis. I'm on like 63rd Street. I'm going to pick, this is right before my operation, and I'm going to pick up my dogs. And I hear a talk show host, to remain nameless, and she says these words. One of the main reasons why the United States, why this country rather, is going downhill is because we have taken God out of school. Folks, I think I went onto oncoming traffic, almost crashed. I couldn't handle that. I almost went blind. I went fuzzy in the head. The left side of my brain started hurting. I start shaking. What kind of inane comment is that? How irresponsible can a person be on radio? We have taken God out of school. Now, I recognize by approaching any subject of religion, and every time I do, no matter how I approach it, no matter how I qualify it, no matter how many times I apologize in advance, and I ask the audience, please do not misinterpret what I am saying. I'm not saying God is bad and I'm anti-God. Please don't go there. You know what happens? I get hate mail. And the thing is, the hate mail I get goes on for pages and chapter and verse in every book in the world. And I don't even read them. You can't. Because they're insane. And it's a shame. But there are so many people out there who buy that. They go, "Oh, yeah, if we don't put God back in school, David, this place could be a great school, little Johnny there, he would know his man. He'd know 1 and 1 is 2 and not 1 and 1 is 2.5, because God's outside in the schoolyard." It makes, just think of the logic. We took God out of school. God, by the way, folks, is a mental condition, is a mental image. Other species, whatever they are, they don't think of the concept of a God. We do. No one's ever seen God. That's why we have physical manifestations of God, whether in every religion. That's why when we go back thousands and thousands of years and study ancient civilizations, we see physical manifestations of God. We don't say, "Oh, there's a rock and there's a formation with a face and dressed a certain way. Oh, there's God. Oh, we found God." We don't say that. But that was God to them. That was their physical manifestation of their mental image of God. You see, the human being is incapable of really comprehending the concept of God in the first place. Now, I'm not saying don't believe in God. I'm anti-God, that I don't believe in God. Don't go there. I want to make sure that we have a definition of what we are. And when I say God, if I got 10 clerics, 10 rabbis, 10 preachers, whatever, Christian, any one of the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of religions around the world, all the same, get 10 of them. Get them to say, 15 words or less, this is a test, give me define God in 15 words or less. I would get 15 different answers. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not degrading the situation. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm saying it's a mental state. God doesn't exist. If God existed, let me tell you something, he would be right here and he would be writing script for me because he's good, better than I am. But it ain't going to happen. And they say, oh, well, God is always there for me. Well, that may be true. And when you have God in schools, then you really have a big problem. And then they take us, you see, what they do is they divert our thinking from thinking for ourselves, preparing for ourselves to start thinking about, oh, God's in school, and getting down that road. Now you're distracted from doing what you should be doing for yourself and your family. Of what good are you if you study all your life whether or not God has been kicked out of school, and then if something would happen, your family would starve? Would God say, well, I'll feed you, I'll send you some food because you've been studying me all that? That's garbage. And people say, oh, no, that's what will happen. Well, ask the 20 million people, not in Germany, 20 million people that were sacrificed in Russia during World War II for no reason. How many of those people prayed before they went to the chopping block, the firing squads, the ovens, and all that? We talk about Germany and 6 million Jews. How about Russia and the 20 million Jews? We don't talk about that in our history books. You know why, folks? Because they were our allies, and allies never do anything bad. I don't want to get off the subject. So here we are taking God out, and that's our problem. And I can't tell you how many people will repeat that today. I'll bet they talk about it. I spoke to, I listened to so-and-so on the radio, and she said, yeah, I agree. I want God back in school. What the heck do you mean by that? You think stormtroopers came in and said, excuse me, which room is God in? Oh, it's in 304. Okay, God, stand up, handcuffs, out the door. Well, I know they shouldn't mean that. Jim.
I don't see any connection between God and our education system. What I'd like to see in our school system is some lessons about the Constitution, some civic lessons, some things that teach students how to think critically instead of just memorizing contents from books.
Right. Okay. Hey, we got to take a break now. Thank you very much, Jim. We got to take a break now. Stay with us, 855-866-1170. Let's send you an email to comments@libertytalkradio.com, and stay with us. There's a lot more when we come back from our break. Folks, we're back, and I hope I can be on track because sometimes I wander, as you know. I was talking about God. Now, I want to make this point, and I'm not talking about, this is not a discussion of religion and whether or not you should believe in God. So please do not get on your email and say, I believe in God, and if you don't, please do not go there. I'm not saying that. I do not want to discuss that. That is not the issue. Here is the issue. The issue is that we have a school system which should be teaching reading, writing, arithmetic. In other words, technical stuff, right? Now, quite frankly, much better off if the kid learned that at home and then went their own ways. I know when I go into the whole school system, I can do a 15-hour program on that. But they blame the poor school system, the inadequacies of school systems, because we took God out of school. And then we just buy that stuff and we go along just merrily. Oh, I know why the school system, oh, God's not there anymore. I saw him leave yesterday. He had this white robe. I mean, it's stupid stuff that we go through. There's something wrong with us. I can't imagine any other nation listening to the crap that we listen to and say, are these people, are they all comedians or are they all insane? Now, let me pose an opposing view on this. All right, if you want to put God back into school, which God are you going to put in there? Now all the ruffles, every feather gets ruffled on every religion. You say, okay, there's a. By the way, folks, there are not hundreds of religions out there. There are thousands of religions out there, all of which define God in a certain way. And by the way, I deny no one any of their beliefs in any of them. I don't care if they believe that cows are gods. I don't care. That's not me. That's for them. And if it's good for them, God bless them. But if, oh, go ahead, Jim.
Joe, but back to school, the only reasonable approach would be to have this so-called universal God, which would be fine to many, but would upset a lot of the diehard evangelical fundamentalists. So.
Oh, absolutely. Could you imagine having all the religions get together, define a God, all agree to it, and say, okay, this is the God that's going into the school? I would say 99.9% of them would kill each other.
I agree.
And the only the 0.1% as the guy who ran first. Please, folks, understand. Now, in your school, I know you're thinking your school, where your kids went, wherever. So think local, right? If all of a sudden a religion came in and said, all right, on Monday we are going to have, and fill in the blank, and there's a million religions out there, I don't want to name one, they're going to have religious services in that school. And it's a religion you've never heard of. What do you think would happen to your town? Now, it wouldn't go past me to think that that school would be burnt down the next day. I mean, I'm not being dramatic. The school burnt down the next day. And of course, they'll be up there, well, someone disrespected my God. That's why we don't have the concept of God in school. It's for reading, writing, arithmetic. And we do that poorly. We have a belief that this is what happens. If a person wants to pray to God, and I don't discourage anyone from doing that. We all do that at certain times. They can go to school and pray all day to God. Do they need an organization? Well, we're going to meet at 3:30 in the cafeteria to pray. Why do you guys? What? I have to be with Bobby to pray? I'm going to pray with Bobby? He stole the chocolate bar out of Harry's locker yesterday. What am I going to pray with him for? I mean, it's stupid. It makes no sense whatsoever. So because they're not allowed to congregate and have this religious ceremony within a secular organization paid for by the state, we're taking God out of school. You can't take God out of school because it's in everyone's mind. But we don't think that way. We just make the comment, and then we go to commercial, and we're left with that in our brain, and then that's the way we think. That's why we have a downfall. Not because we took God out of school, it's because we were disrespectful to the concept of God. And please, spare me the chapter and verse of some religious book on why God should be in school. Spare me that. You know that I'm right, although it hurts. Remember, it pisses you off first. And then, by the way, this same talk show host follows up by saying, well, it even gets worse. There's a public park where they put a nativity scene, and another organization, and I'm going to be nameless on this because I do not want to prejudice this whole thing, they wanted to put up their version. Unbelievable. All-out war broke out. But wait a minute. If this is a free country where there's freedom of religion, why can't another religion put up, or lack of religion, by the way, put up their religious or non-religious or whatever it is, manifestation of the holiday, whatever it is. I guess manifestation of the holiday would be the best way to put it, right, Jim? Am I saying that right?
Good enough for me. Good enough for me. Joe, while you catch your breath, it reminds me of a concert I was watching yesterday. Ray Wiley Hubbard, a great folk artist, he said he believes in the power of prayer. He said the last 4 times he's prayed, he said, please, Lord, if you get me out of this mess, I'll never do it again. He says it worked the last 4 times.
And this is a joke, folks. This is only a joke. Please do not get serious on this one. I think it was what's his name? The comedian that passed away recently. My favorite one. George Carlin. Yeah, I have a whole crew here today. Yeah, George Carlin. He said, I stopped preaching, praying to God. He says, now I preach to Joe Pesci. And he says the reason why, he says the results were exactly the same. Now, please, folks, don't write in and say that's only a joke. Please, okay? Please don't go there. All right. Hey, let's hear from you. 855-866-1170. 855-866-1170. Comments at libertytalkradio.com. You can find us anytime at libertytalkradio.com on the internet. We are always there. We're ubiquitous. We're always there, and we'll follow you around. I forgot where I was. Totally lost now. Where was I? Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So now another group really wanted to put up this their manifestation. And now the whole town is in an uproar. How dare they? You see what happens, folks? And the sorrowful part is that this is what gives these people meaning. There's your tragedy. This is their meaning. Defending their God. Wars over the years where hordes of people attacked a village of hordes of other people and killed every one of them in the name of their God. That's where I see this going. I'm not going to happen. We're not going to have these religious wars. I'm not saying that. But that's the mentality.
Joe, it reminds me of a very poignant quote. I can't remember who said it, but that if tyranny ever comes to America, it will be wrapped in an American flag and holding a cross. Yeah,
you're absolutely correct. And we want to place the blame on the school system. We got to call it. Let's say, we want to place the blame on the school system. The blame is not with the school system, folks. The blame is with us. Caller, you're on the air.
Okay, Joe.
Yes, sir.
One thing I need you to look at. I don't think you people pay enough attention to it. There is no more de jure government. All your government entities, as you think they are really corporations. Check out Dun & Bradstreet. The courts, the government agencies, everything is on Dun & Bradstreet. They're corporations. This is where the problem is.
Oh, no, I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, you're so right. Next time I can't make it to the studio, you're filling in for me. How about that? I couldn't agree with you more. But here's my point. What is your first name, please?
Ray.
Ray, here's my point. My point is we know that. We know that there is the corporations own Congress. That's where the money is. Follow the money and you'll find where politics goes. My point is that is a problem, but the problem is not them. The problem is us, because what we do is we buy into the system. We buy into that system. We do things like, I have to vote, so I vote for the lesser of two evils. I put my money in banks that are owned by the big corporations because I'm too lazy to do anything else with it. It goes on and on. If each one of us took more responsibility for ourselves, as we did back in the 1920s, when people bought things and held onto it, and everything they owned had value. When they went to the store, they bought dry goods because they knew dry goods would last. The dry goods they purchased would last them a week. It would make them food independent for a week. That's the way they thought. Let me tell you something, right? My grandfather had a saying, and this made no sense to me whatsoever when I was young. I mean, in fact, I thought this guy was a lunatic. He was a nice guy, very old when he was an old man when I was young. And he used to say, "Hey, Giuseppe, before you go out to eat, eat." Think about that, what he was saying. Think about the concept. I go, this guy's a nutcake before he got to eat. Before I got to eat, I go hungry. Well, you see, in his time, even when they went out to eat, food was so precious back then that even when you were invited to eat somewhere, there was no guarantee there would be food or enough food there. So you always made sure you had something to eat so you wouldn't starve when you went out. This is the mentality we should have.
I look at the last election results, and I can only think that what we have here is a nation of imbeciles. Because none of these people are thinking. I mean, this guy has gone out and, trashed the Constitution, done all manner of nonsense, run the place into a deep hole of death, and they still go out and vote for the guy. I mean, give me a break.
Ray, I have to ask you a question then. I have to ask you a question. I'm stepping over your words. I know that. Did you vote?
Did I? No, I did not vote.
Great. All right. We're on the same page. Okay. But it's immaterial. You know what? I don't care if they put Godzilla in office. If our next president is Godzilla himself, Godzilla that ate Tokyo in those old films, I don't care. I have my own central bank. I don't need the Federal Reserve. I have my own central bank. And the central bank that I have is in my head. I don't have a bank. I don't have a vault somewhere. But it's the way I think. And everything I do to protect myself and my family. If I cannot do for myself and my family, I am worthless to my community.
Well, the thing is, too, that what we have here is everybody sitting in front of the boob tube and just watching all kinds of mind-numbing crap and learning nothing. They're not prepared. I mean, if anything hits the fan here, we're in deep trouble.
You're absolutely. I'm not going to be in deep trouble, Ray. I'm not. I tell you that. I will be in trouble. My life will change, but I'm not going to be in trouble because I prepare. It's up to everybody to prepare in their own way. Ray, thanks for calling in. If you'll send me a mailing address and a T-shirt size, I'd love to send you a Liberty Talk Radio T-shirt in the mail, okay? Send it to comments@libertytalkradio.com.
Will do.
Thank you so much, Ray. That's a segue. Since I've been sick, I'm not sick. I'm mentally ill, but I had this arm. Jim, don't look at me that way. But, everyone's like, I have 5 people here, and they're all like, yes, you are sick. Are you kidding? But, I'm immobile, and I have this passive motion machine, which is really kind of neat. And I got to do that, stay there for 2 hours straight. 2 hours straight, can't stop, And it lifts the arm back and forth and stuff like that. And I'm watching television. And I noticed, here are a couple of observations, right? Everybody on TV is happy. Everybody. Absolutely. I mean, a woman comes home, right, and she buys a new toilet bowl cleaner, and her kids are happy. They're doing well in school. The husband comes home. She gives him a big kiss. Her leg goes up in the air, just like the Doris Day movies, and everything's. They get in their new SUV, and they go out to dinner, all because of the toilet bowl cleaner. I think this is wonderful. I had to tell my wife, we need to get new toilet bowl cleaner, because if we do, I can guarantee you our marriage would be a heck of a lot better. I think toilet bowl cleaner, the wrong toilet bowl cleaner, is the reason why my marriage is not what it could be. Now, you know that, folks. You know that. You're laughing. I know you're laughing. That's why you're not dialing in 855-866-1170. Let me hear from you. Come on, give me a call. Disagree with me. Yell at me. I don't care what you do. And everyone's happy. Oh, if they only had the right investment portfolio. Oh, if they only had the right vacuum cleaner. And you know what I noticed? People who drive Mercedes-Benz never smile. On TV, they had the biggest smile. They got special teeth they put in for smiling, right? And I do this. I actually, I'm a nutcake anyway. I get to a stop. If there's a Mercedes-Benz, I look and see if I have never in my life seen a person in a $78,000 Mercedes-Benz even look. They all look miserable. I have a 1996 Subaru standard shift Impreza Outback. I love the car. Standard shift, right? I'm always smiling in the car. I'm laughing at them. Something's wrong, folks. And what's wrong is with us. It has nothing to do. I don't care who gets into office because it doesn't make any difference. The only difference that is important is what happens to my mind and how I react. Let me give you, before we go off there, I want to give you what if a person was born, they went into a closet. And in that closet, they did nothing. They were fed, they were given oxygen, and fed food. And then at the age of 18, they let out and said, okay, go someplace. Would that person be an asset to society? Well, you know the answer to that. It'd be an absolute drain on society. A person would be incapable. What our responsibility is, as parents, is to make sure our kids are not like that kid in the closet. But that's what we're doing. We're in fact putting our kids in the closet, making them dependent. And then we say things like, my Johnny's so smart, he downloads apps. When I hear that. And then when there's an electronic glitch, Johnny can't even function. And whose fault is that? Oh, it's got to be the fault of the We got one more break. We got one more break left. Okay, we're gonna stop for a break, folks. I get hollered at around here. These people sometimes aren't very nice to me. You know that. Let's stop for a break. We'll be right back. You know, folks, I was talking about, the advertisements. I just have to mention two more, which just drive me crazy. You ever notice the ads for people who have COPD? That's lung disease. They can't breathe, obstructive pulmonary disease, and chronic. I guess it's chronic lung disease. And those people always seem to be in excellent shape. They always seem to be walking out, in the by a lake or going hiking and stuff like that, and the clean air, and they take this medication, and boy, they're mountain climbing it. The people that I know who have COPD, this is not what they do. They stay home and they smoke and eat potato chips. They wouldn't even move. I mean, and they're the athletic types. These people are in horrible shape. COPD is only a result of the terrible living standards that they have. And another one is that you ever notice in the fast food arena, which is the worst stuff in the world, all good-looking, all supermodels go there. No one is an ounce overweight. I mean, I'm thin. They make me look fat, and they all go there to eat, the double baconator. I said, folks, the reason why I mention that is not to be funny, but to say this is an illusion. You are living in an illusion. I want you today, as a result of this broadcast, to forego the blue pill. I want you to abandon the blue pill. Remember the Matrix? Abandon the blue pill. Start taking the red pill and living in reality. Reality sucks. You won't be smiling, but you'll feel a heck of a lot better about yourself. You'll be there to protect your family, and you'll be better off for it, okay? And with that, Jim, thank you very much for being on our program. Thank you, everybody, for being, okay? And, okay. Oh, by the way, we're going to be at the Village Inn. We're going to have breakfast at the Village Inn at South Yale, about 52nd Street. If there's anyone out there who's listening and wants to join us, we'll be there for about an hour or so, about 8:30, 9 o'clock, okay? So please join us. And thank you for joining us at Liberty Talk Radio today. We'll be back next week, and hopefully I'll be in a better mood. Jim, thank you very much for joining us. Okay, even my wife is here. Honey, thank you for being here. Okay, our camera crew, everyone's here. Thank you very much, and you stay tuned. Now, let me give you a closing. I said this is the end of today's broadcast. We'd like to thank our sponsors for their financial support, and we'd like to thank you for listening in. Folks, you can further the cause of liberty by recommending this program to your friends and let us hear from you. Our email address is comments@libertytalkradio.com. Remember, you're either allowing your liberties to be taken away or striving to protect them. Unfortunately, there is no middle ground. With that, until next time, I'm Joe Cristiano. This is Liberty Talk Radio. Stay well, stay tuned. Thank you.